In 1962, the tragic destruction of one quaint Pennsylvanian town was set in motion as a result of human error and bureaucracy. In its heyday, Centralia was home to more than 1,000 residents, at least 5 generations of immigrants, who flocked to the town due to the presence of anthracite coal. Anthracite is a hard, compact variety of coal that has the highest carbon content and fewest impurities. It ignites with difficulty and burns with a short, blue, and smokeless flame. Used mainly to power generation, anthracite is only mined in a few countries around the world. After decades of expansion in Centralia's coal mines, the stock market crash of 1929 caused 5 of the mines to close down, but remained idle for bootleg miners to raid. These raids involved techniques such as what is called pillar robbing, where miners would extract coal from the coal pillars left in the mines to support their roofs. This tactic would cause collapses in the mines and would further complicate the prevention of the fire to come. While there has been some discussion about what exactly started the fire of 1962, the most recognized explanation is that the town council arranged a cleanup of a strip mine dump which resided next to the cemetery. Memorial Day was approaching, and in the past they had cleaned up the landfills by setting it on fire. Being it was a new dump and a new location so close to the cemetery, they thought it would be respectful to do just that, and began burning the garbage pit on May 27, 1962. Visible flames were doused out that night, but quickly flared up and had to be doused a second time, then a third the following week when the flames again returned to the landfill. Upon investigation by firemen a few days later, they discovered a hole at the bottom of the pit as wide as 15 feet and several feet deep, that had let the fire into the complicated labyrinth of abandoned coal mines beneath the town. By now, smoke was seeping from the walls of the landfill, tested to contain carbon monoxide, concentrations typical of coal mine fires. 3 proposals were made in the following months to flush out the mines or extract the burning material. But by the time these best ideas arrived, the town had run out of money and was forced to abandon the excavation projects in 1963. It was quoted as being only days away from extinguishing the fires when the town ran out of money. For several years, the residents of Centralia were able to move on with their lives, believing that the fire was no real threat and wouldn't be a problem where it was. But in 1979, that proved to not be so true, when the mayor and local gas station owner, John Coddington, discovered the fuel contained in underground tanks was a piping 172 degrees Fahrenheit. Physical changes began to take place in the town those years. The ground became hot to the touch, and at night you could even see the glowing blue of where the fire burned beneath. Roads leading into the town started to crack and crumble, spewing bellows of smoke and creating dangerous passage for cars. Despite efforts to fix and maintain the roads, the damage was relentless, and certain roads, mainly Route 61, which led east into and south out of Centralia, were closed and rerouted. It wouldn't be long before residents of the town began experiencing fatigue and even passing out as the toxic smoke found its way into their homes. In 1981, the town's fire got statewide attention when a 12-year-old resident named Todd Domboski fell into a sinkhole 4 feet wide by 150 feet deep in a relative's backyard. Smoke rising from the sinkhole tested positive for carbon monoxide. This was the beginning of the sinkhole problem that would plague the town. Craters would appear out of nowhere overnight, becoming dangerous to the townspeople. In 1984, Congress had had enough of ignoring the threat and allocated $42 million for relocation efforts. Most of the residents at this time accepted buyouts and moved to the nearby towns of Mount Carmel and Ashland. The government stated that the residents' decision to move was strictly voluntary, and those who chose to stay were welcome to. However, in 1992, Governor Bob Casey invoked eminent domain on all the property in the town, and despite resident outcry, their homes were no longer their own. In 2002, Governor Ed Wendell began the formal eviction of the remaining residents, making those who still refused to move a form of squatters. Also, in 2002, the U.S. Postal Service tried to erase the name of Centralia, telling residents that from here on out they were just part of Ashland as far as the mail was concerned. This, of course, didn't set well with the remaining townspeople, and they brought media into the town to help fight this change. A fight that would prove a small victory, as while the Postal Service did succeed in taking away Centralia's zip code, for now, it still has its name. As more people moved out of town, the government would demolish blocks at a time until the town resembled nothing of the vibrant community it once was. If someone were to pass through today, not knowing the history, they wouldn't expect a town ever existed there. The cemetery still stands, and more plots are created as old residents still request to be buried there. Every year on Memorial Day, there's a gathering of all the people who once called Centralia home to pay respects to the dead, but with nowhere to gather and chat, their presence is quickly dispersed, leaving the memories of the town just that, memories. According to the census of 2010, Centralia was home to no more than 10 people, 5 households, and 3 families. The average age of these residents was 62.5 years old, and some speculate that the only reason they weren't forced from their homes is due to the bad press coverage the government would get for evicting 70-year-olds who just wanted to stay where they grew up. It wasn't the look of the town that they were attached to, but rather the memories that they have there. I personally don't think anyone has the right to take that away from them. While Centralia may be a town no more, its location on the map still remains, and a haunting realization that human error was the cause of its demise. It lives on in the hearts of the families who once grew up there, the inspiration that caused it to become the town of Silent Hill, and the documentaries that people can educate themselves on. We can all learn from our mistakes as people, and hopefully work towards a future with less devastation like the town on fire. If you're interested in learning more about Centralia, I recommend checking out the documentary The Town That Was. I linked it in the description. And if you have any means to visit what is left of the town like I wish I could, I suggest you do so before it's completely erased. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy my channel, please share it, like, and comment. You'll notice that this is different from the normal content, and I hope that it enticed you just as much. I've been asked to do more true stories, and while I'm not big on the tales of Reddit, I have a lot of fun with this kind of truth. There's a lot of horror out there in human history that people aren't educated on, and I hope that I can help spread the word of these things that people should know about. The fictional stories are not going away, and I hope that producing this content quicker may allow me to upload more times a week and give you a nice mixture of fiction and truth. Again, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.